Welcome back, everyone, to Tefillah Tidbits on Tuesday. I'm Rabbi Molly Wiesel, and very happy to be here with our artist in residence, Josh Niehaus.
Hi, everybody.
So today we are continuing along our Kabbalat Shabbat journey, moving from Psalms 95, 96 to Psalm 97, the third psalm, which represents the third day of creation. So this psalm has in it one of, I think, the most famous verses of the Psalms, one of the most famous verses of our Kabbalat Shabbat service, or Zarua Latzadik. The light is sown for the just or the righteous, delight for the upright of heart. So, uh, I don't know about all of you. I don't know about you, Josh, but I grew up going to camp. Well, I know you grew up going to camp because we went to the same camp, and involved in youth group. And I remember shouting at the top of my lungs during song sessions, or Zarua, and stomping and clapping, and never gave much thought to what it all meant. And so I'm excited to take a look, do a little deeper dive now today. Um, so Rabbi Richard Levy, Zichronam Livracha, may his memory be a blessing, who wrote Songs Ascending, a commentary on the Psalms, he writes about this verse, the light is sown for the just, delight for the upright of heart. He writes that this verse reminds us that when we go through the 6 days of creation, when we go through this on Kabbalat Shabbat, that we're not just reminding ourselves about the physical nature of creation, but there are inner qualities that we're also supposed to bring to mind. And this verse reminds us of the quiet inner reality that light is within us, that light exists not only outside in the daylight, outside in the world. It's not this external thing alone, but it's also deep within us, and that we each can be a source of light. And we know there are so many metaphors about light that exist. And for me, what I think about is that Shabbat, these 25 hours that we set aside for Shabbat, are not just about resting for the sake of resting. Like, yeah, it's nice to sit on the couch and watch Netflix or whatever, but it's a different kind of rest. It's a rest that is meant to be reflective, um, and rejuvenate us, so that during the whole rest of the week, we can be doing really important holy work, which is the work of justice, bringing justice into places of darkness in our world. And this psalm reminds us of that. So, Josh, you're going to teach us, I understand, a melody to Or Zarua.
Yes, hello, everybody. Thanks, Rabbi. This melody, beautiful melody, comes from Dan Nichols. So I told you they would not all be Nava Tehillah. Um, and this is a powerful melody. I find it hauntingly beautiful. So I think maybe I'll just start by teaching it, and then we can kind of unpack all that's going on musically in it afterwards. So we're going to focus on that line, or Zarua Latzadik U Yishra Lev Simcha. And there's some English verses as well. O Zarua Latzadik U Yishra Lev Simcha. Zarua Latzadik U Yisrael Lev Simcha. Yadada, 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 yadada. Try to sing along with that. Yadada, yadada. Yadada, yadada, or Zarua, or Zarua. tzadik uyishrei lev simcha. Or zarua latzadik uyishrei lev simcha. We must keep our hopes alive. We must raise our voices high. We must hold each other tight. We must stand up in the night and be light, light, light. Or Zarua latzadik uyishrei lev simcha. Or Zarua latzadik uyishrei lev simcha. We must spread our love around. We must feel this spiritual sound. We must work till peace has come. We must love and live as one and be light, light, light. Or Zarua latzadik uyishrei lev simcha. Or Zarua latzadik uyishrei lev simcha. Yada-da, 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 yada-da-da-da. Yada-da, 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 yada-da-da-da-da, yada-da.
Thank you, Josh. I don't know. I don't know about you, but I noticed. So we've now sung 3 melodies, and the first from Psalm 95, Nava Tehillah, was like very calm melody. And then last week, Psalm 96 was super funky. And then today it's Or Zarua, this melody by Dan Nichols is so beautiful. And it's slow, but it's like you said, it's haunting, and it's like, to me, almost has this like driving feeling to it. Um, what do you get from this melody?
Yeah, this
What's
is one
that
of
about?
those melodies where this isn't necessarily about comfort food. Like, I saw Dan, as I'm sure you have, a number of times at Havana Shira, and he says sometimes it's not just about making people feel comfortable. Sometimes it's about moving them to a completely different place. And to me, this one moves me into, like, sometimes I'm left drained. I'm almost sad, like not in a bad way, but it is it's such a powerful for tune. And in terms of that feeling like it's kind of moving you along with it, like you're talking about, I think that's because here's a musical term, but it's in 6/8 time. So most songs, both of the songs that we've done in the previous weeks, are in standard time, or common time it's called, which is 4 beats per every measure. This one has 6 beats, and as a result, it almost has this galloping feeling. It's like you're on a train. It's like you're on the tracks, and this melody is moving you along with it like a tractor beam. You have no choice but to be kind of transported into where it wants you to go. And where it wants you to go is, I think, this very contemplative, almost melancholic of place. And I think it's a really effective at doing that.
Yeah. Well, and I love that imagery of the train, but it's not like, it's not jolting, it's not like really fast or whatever, it's, we are moving, but it still feels like, it feels safe. Um
Right. It's
yeah,
lulling you
yeah,
there. It's not
yeah.
not forcing you. And I think in terms of like the text, there I might be reaching, but the light is a great metaphor for what's happening in this song, because light is so multi-layered. Like on one hand, you can listen to this song and be like, oh, that song sounds lovely. I enjoyed it. I'm going to move on to the next song. But if you really stop and you take a look, it's like looking at light through a glass where it refracts, and you realize, holy moly, there's a whole spectrum within that already. And it's really hard to do this song justice just with me and a guitar. But he wrote, I mean, there's three wordless harmony parts, and then there's the Hebrew text, which also there's a beautiful harmony line on top of that, and then of course there's the English verses. So there's so much sonically and melodically going on in this song, and yeah, it's something to be in a room. I mean, have you been to Havana Shira and heard this song
I
performed?
have. Yeah, this my first time at Havana Shira was 2001, and I think this was one of the first songs that I learned there. And that experience of being in a room just filled with harmonies, and this song just really lends itself to that. It's so powerful.
And hopefully once we are able to meet in person, this is one of those prayers that I'm really excited to get together with, you know involve congregants who want to learn more about the music, and we can start to develop some of those harmonies and hear them in the sanctuary, because it's a really powerful, beautiful melody.
Yeah. And I like your background today. You've got a nice background with that beautiful light coming through the trees, which makes me think about our psalm last week where we talked about this imagery of the trees singing. And so I love that with our psalm today, um, this idea with specifically with this melody of having the different harmonies building on each other. You could imagine in some moments the forest might be celebrating and having the upbeat melody, but I could also totally see this this melody from Dan Nichols just like radiating through a forest.
Almost like I would see it like fog just going
Mhm.
through the forest is how this melody makes me feel. And I was looking more into that concept of heat boda dut, where you speak to the trees, and it's not always in words, right? Sometimes words are not enough, and you can just make sounds or whatever. And that's another powerful part of Dan Nichols' song is the wordless parts, and those are very intentional, because I think when we're talking about the light that we connect to, but it's hard to touch, and it more than meets the eye, and it's so deep in terms of a metaphor that sometimes even the words, even the sacred words from the text themselves, fall short of fully expressing how we feel. And I think that's why Dan wrote such a beautiful three-part harmony nigun, wordless melody that the song begins and ends with. It's like after we say all these important words, we still have more to give that we can't even put into words.
Well, and I think one of the things he's masterful at is also bringing in different English lyrics. And so the way he has the nigun, the ancient Hebrew words from our psalm, and then he writes these two English verses that again might help bring us to the text and understand it in a different way than we would just by reading the text on its own. So, well,
He's
thank you
good.
for
He is good. That's like a
yeah, yes, he is.
goal.
Yeah.
Hashtag goals. As a Jewish musician and songwriter, Dan Nichols is definitely big time goals.
Yes. Well, thank you for teaching us this beautiful melody. And of course, we look forward to singing it with all of you at our virtual Shabbat services. And we look forward to the day when we can be in person and create beautiful harmonies together. So we'll see you very soon. And we'll also see you at some point in the future in our sanctuary.